Hey guys, welcome back to Ollie Talks Airsoft. In today's video we're going to be talking about belts and belt setups. Now, since my recent cancer diagnosis I've got a bit weaker, and so I'm now looking towards more lightweight setups for belts. Maybe the past 5 years I've been running this FRV tailoring belt, and I'm just going to run through what we've got on here at the moment. So we've got a single S-tack which is attached on with their belt loop attachment, and it's got quite a lot of movement. Even if I hold the belt, there's a lot of movement in this. I don't really recommend these belt attachments, especially for a single pouch. They're just, unless you don't mind that movement, they're not very good. Next to that, we've got a double Haley strategic pistol. Now, I've been running this probably for a couple of years now. It's a lot more secure on here because it's got the half strips of molly rather than the full molly, so you get a tighter fit on here. But to be honest, they're quite a bit slower than the S-tacks, and I've never lost a mag using the S-tacks. So I think for the money, I wouldn't bother. I'd get a double S-tack pistol. Next up, we've got a little bit of space here, and this is so I've been doing a bit of testing as to how to mount various molly things, but we'd normally have a single 5.56, and we'd have my T-Rex Arms dump pouch on here as well. Next to it, we've got a lanyard retention, and this is for one of my grenade holders, which is held on by, it's got a tech lock going around the belt, as you can see here. Then we've got the ELS by Safariland, which is the equipment locking system, and then we've got a Kydex grenade holder. So depending on whether I'm using grenades or not, you can just snap them in, which is pretty cool. Then got a medic pouch. This is a blue force gear boo-boo pouch, and I did actually take out the things that were in here because I was going to see how much this actually weighed in total. So I've got a grenade loading tool. I've also got a couple of plasters, which are usually pretty useful. I've got a revision wipe. If you've never used these before, they are really, really excellent. Highly recommend these just for out in the field. And then in here we've got various blanks. So we've got some 9mm and some 209 blanks in there, but that's what I normally have in here. Next up, another grenade pouch. So exactly the same thing. So I have a couple of different kinds of grenades. This is actually for the timed one, so this is the one that should have this part next to it, but I can just swap those over, not a problem. Next to it again, we've got I think this is called a V70 holster, and this is designed for a Surefire. So I've got a Surefire Fury here, which is the dual power version. So really useful for CQB, but that just kind of clips in there. Pretty cool. Then next to it, I've got a UBL mid-ride, and I've actually threaded the belt through a different direction to most people, and that's because I always find that this digs in, and this was one of the reasons that I'm switching to a slightly different belt setup, because I've been trying to find something where I don't get any kind of hot spots kind of within a few hours of playing, and it tends to be whatever configuration I run this UBL mid-ride. I really like the ride height on it. I like everything about it except for the hot spots that it creates. So yeah, that's one of the things that I've been looking to improve. Then on here I've got a Safariland QLS receiver, and I think it's a T-Rex Arms or HW holster. There's a lot of people that do these thigh grips that basically have a bit of rubber sewn into it so it doesn't slip as much. And we're going to have a look at the kind of new setup that I've gone with here. So we'll start off in the same direction. So at the moment, this is kind of naked at the front here, and I have a double S-tack Kiwi with the gap. So I think it's quite important to get it with the gap. I would always get it with the gap. It's in multicam, and it also comes with two of the new style malice clips. So these are the Tactical Tailor malice clips. So for years we've had these ones, which are the old style. These are pretty terrible. especially when you compare with what you can do with these new ones. Before I've attached on this double pistol, I thought I would show you an example of exactly what I'm talking about. So here I've got a Ferro Concept Bison belt, and this is so stiff. It's unreal, like how stiff this is. That carbon fibre that you can see on here it is thick. It's really pretty decent, to be perfectly honest with you. But what I've done here is I've got two 7.62 pouches. This isn't what I'm going to be running on here. I'm going to be running a similar setup. So I'm going to be running double S-tack at the front here. Then I'll be running the Haley Strategic rifle pouch, which I think I've got just sat up here. I've taken the Kydex out of it so that it can fit Sega magazines as well. So this is what I'm going to be running, and it is super light. So that's what I'll be running behind the dual S-tacks. What I wanted to show you is on these two 7.62 mags, I don't know if you can see, but if you look at the malice clips at the bottom, they're actually different. You'll probably notice that these ones here are pitched in ever so slightly, and that's because when I mounted these, there's enough flex in these new malice clips that you can cross them before you go through the bottom part of Molly here. What that means is it gives you a really solid and secure fit, which is something that you've never really had with malice clips before, or I've certainly not. So let me try and show you on here. So this one is attached in the standard way. So as you can see, we've got like that little bit of movement. Whereas this one here, way more solid. Still a tiny bit of movement, I'll give you that, but way more solid. And it does click in, so it does, when you engage the malice clip, it does go click, even on this one where it's been crossed over. So what I wanted to test is, because I've got another boo-boo pouch here, and as you can see, we've got that bit of movement in here. Let's see if something that uses the kind of Hyperlon attachment system, let's see if I can cross this one, and let's see if we can take this little bit of movement out of here. So hopefully this won't take me too long to do. It's tricky with this Hyperlon because it doesn't have the rigidity for you to kind of push it through. Needle nose pliers, let's see if we can. The Hyperlon seems to have bulked out a bit, because you can see kind of, it does create a little bit more of a gap. So I guess this one where you've got the extra movement, you are slightly closer to the actual belt. This one is pulling it out, and I guess you can kind of see it where it's all kind of bunched up behind here. But to be honest, I don't mind. This is all kind of pretty lightweight stuff anyway. So as long as I can get these bits to cinch down. Whoa, okay. So again, if you can see a little bit more height on that, but there is no movement in that whatsoever. So yeah, I mean, doesn't look the prettiest at the bottom, but it is, you know, look, it's velcroed in. Let's make sure that, so I'm going to have things in this pouch anyway. Yeah, it doesn't intrude too much on the inside of the pouch, so you can still I can still put all my usual things in there. Personally, I would deal with that kind of tiny bit of extra standoff in order to get rid of that wobble. And again, on here, I would, yeah, just that no movement thing, I'm really into that. Yeah, yes. Now let's move on to arguably the most important part of a belt setup, and that's going to be your holster system. So I've actually gone with a Safariland leg shroud, which you can get for, I think they're about £50 or £60, and then I've attached on a QLS receiver. Now these things come with a big bit of nylon, and basically the way that I wanted to run this, because this is supposed to be run kind of like down your leg, kind of like Black Hawk style, very kind of 90s. But I wanted to run this at the same height as sort of a mid-ride or a low-ride, so sort of the same as on my other belt. Now, because I wanted to do that, it meant that I had way too much flappy material. So what I did is I chopped it, and what I've done is, on this piece of material here, it actually had 3 holes drilled in it for attaching to this leg shroud. So I re-drilled those holes, recut all this nylon, and I brought it up. So it's now basically at the correct ride height for what I'm looking for. So if I can just, obviously I'm not wearing the inner belt for this at the moment, but just to give you an idea, and because this is material here, you don't actually get any pinching. There's no sort of like discomfort on here anywhere. So I've got a this is Airsoft, by the way, obviously, and there's nothing in here. So essentially I've got my preferred sort of ride height for the pistol, so that's really good for me certainly. If I rest my arm down by my side, then it's right here, and I can also without looking sort of put it in and out. It's also nice with this Gen 5 Glock, it actually clicks in to one of these T-Rex holsters, which is really nice, and obviously having it on a QLS means that I can remove that, change it for a different holster system, different pistol, or whatever I choose to be running. This is the S-Tac Skittles pouch, or small Skittles pouch. I think it might be a little bit too small, personally. In the picture, I think it had 4 AR-15 mags in it, which seems reasonable, but it's only going to fit like a couple of Sega mags. So I don't know whether, in trying to go really lightweight, I might have made a bit of a boo-boo on this one. I will try it out though. Essentially it's going to fit, because this is going to be removed, obviously. It's going to fit about there on my gear. So yeah, it doesn't weigh very much, and I must say the fabric wants to be quite stiff. I might pick up the slightly larger version though, because that really is considerably smaller than I was imagining it was going to be. Let me grab a couple of mags and we'll see what fits and what doesn't. Okay, so we've got some different mags here. Not huge quantities, but this is designed for kind of high speed. So yeah, certainly a couple of AR mags, not a problem. You would expect it to take kind of up to 4. Here's a couple of G3 mags. Okay, yeah, fits in. I think it could probably, yeah, it could fit 1 more. So it could fit 3 of those style. What about these? 2. I don't think there's enough room for any more than that. So even though these are attached together, I think we're, even the other way, I think we're at a maximum of 2. In reality, this is pretty small as far as dump pouches go. So I'll give it a try. I'm going to be running a lot more pistols going forward anyway, so this should be great for pistol mags, especially because of the depth. So the pistol mags are only going to be coming kind of halfway down here. So obviously, yeah, a pistol mag in here, we're about here. There's no way of sort of cinching this down, it's just going to remain open. And if you're running around, like, there is a chance that you could be losing mags. So the jury's out on this one. I like the fact that we've got a couple of holes in the bottom, but again, there are no grommets or anything around there, so I don't know how long those are going to last, whether the laser cutting on here has been good enough that that's going to survive. I guess only time will tell on that one, and hopefully I will have time to tell on that one. So installing the pistol on here, that's how the malice clips are looking at the back. Then when I kind of tuck them home, finally, that was it. Yep, that's not trying to pull out anymore. One side inserted. But I'm going to do this always going forwards, but you couldn't, it wasn't possible with the old malice clips. It just didn't work. That was it. So just check that they're not going to pull out or anything. That's okay. So again, you see they're crossed. Oh, look at that, 0 movement. That is what we're talking about. Exciting. Okay, next one to go on, directly behind that, is going to be the Haley Strategic mag pouch. And this one I'm not going to cross it over because it has that quarter or sort of the half molly system, which actually it works really well. I prefer the rifle pouch to the double pistol. I just never use those. I never use a 1911 simply because I'm always either using probably a Glock or I don't know, or something else. I just rarely take out a 1911. I tend to take out something light bearing if I'm going to be taking a pistol out, simply because I've got the T-Rex Arms suppressor holster, and despite the fact that the Glock version says that it can only be used with Glocks, if you've got an X300 you can use it with a bunch of stuff, and you don't even have to use a suppressor on it as well. It holds. It's really good. So that's something that, again, that I'd probably recommend to people. Ultimately, I'm not sure whether I'm going to run grenades or grenade pouches on here, but the fact that I've got them on the other belt on a tech lock means that I can just remove it, slip them onto this belt, and it takes like 2 seconds to get it all done and updated. That's good, actually. I like this. So we've got the rifle sat ever so slightly lower than the pistol ones, because weirdly I'm not trained enough for this to be my first reload, and normally, because I'll duck into cover when I'm doing a reload, it takes the pressure off getting it done as quickly. It's only when you're kind of caught short out in the open, I guess you'll go for this one. But I mean, we've all got training needs, haven't we? Hopefully other people will be thinking, oh good, it's not just me that struggles with Molly all the time. Don't worry, I think everyone does. So there we go. Here is the setup so far, and the only other bit I'm going to attach on is this this dump pouch. Again, that's a nice solid fit. I like that. It's probably never going to find itself in the position that it's not open. So there we go. Here is the entire belt setup that I'm going to go for. There won't be anything else that I'm going to add on to this. So let's just see what this weighs in at. The whole belt setup comes in at 0.79 kilograms, so about 790 grams. That is 1.74 pounds. That's not bad. Okay, let's just compare that to the old setup that I've got then. The old setup, I'll just stick the dump pouch on. Make sure there's nothing on here that's not supposed to be on here. Okay, and let's do the same. So it's 790 grams to beat. This is 1.11 kilograms or 2.44 pounds. So we've got a significant weight saving there. So what I was really hoping to achieve by upgrading my belt setup to a lighter one seems to have worked. And not only is it lighter, it should be more comfortable and more suited for my needs. Now, I think the only thing to acknowledge is the fact that we do have a couple of grenade pouches on here, but this is how I was always going to run this belt, and this is how I'm always going to run this belt. And I can feel just the difference in picking those up. This feels, ultimately, I've had it for a few years, but this FRB tailoring belt is, despite the double layers, triple stitching and all of that, it's kind of floppy now. It does have an inner belt right here, which it attaches to, but still you get that flop and you get that movement, which is just something you just don't seem to get in this belt, just due to the thick carbon fibre around it. So this has got everything I need: double pistol, single rifle, pouch for any accessories and stuff I need, a dump pouch, and a holster system. So for me, I'm going to be sticking with this for a little while, trialling it, seeing how it works out. But certainly this, combined with a nice light plastic Tokyo Marine pistol, I think is going to balance really well. So I thought it was best to probably show you the example of what I'm talking about. So this is the old belt setup that I've got. As you can see, I've gone for 3 different kinds of mags here. I've got an HK45 mag, got an FNX mag and a Glock mag. I've got my usual UBL mid-ride, but this is what I was talking about. If you kind of kneel down, like, that can be quite uncomfortable. Again, like picking your leg up, this seems to dig in just here. So I've really not found it. I found it good because my pistol is always in exactly the same place. It's very easy for me to draw from that. It's very easy for me to do pretty much to do a reload. This side I've got my 7.62 S-Tac. Behind that I've got a 2X Arms dump pouch, and obviously the other bits that I was showing you, the grenade holster, the holster for the V70 for the torch. No, it doesn't get in the way at all. I never find myself kind of reaching too far back or anything like that. There is actually enough space that you would always just go for that. Also, as I mentioned before, this is the suppressor holster by T-Rex Arms, but as long as you've got an X300, preferably a Type B like this, they actually fit in fine, and the pistol really doesn't want to come out. So even without a suppressor on here, like, it doesn't. You can see there is a bit of movement. I do have the inner belt through the belt loops on this to keep it pretty steady. All in all, not a bad setup. I can feel a little bit of weight on me, but I've got everything I need, and if I want to run grenades or this, I can. But yeah, interesting with the T-Rex Arms holster, and this is the one that is designed for Glocks. Obviously in here I've got a Staccato P. Pretty nice. This is the army version. I do like it. It's really nice, but it doesn't actually load the BBs particularly well. The mags are a bit like iffy, to be honest. Okay, so let's switch out to the new lightweight setup and let's see how that kind of feels, and let's see if, I guess we've dealt with the main 2 points that I was trying to address, which is the weight, which as we've seen with kind of a 30% weight reduction, but also this pinching. So let's get this one off and I'll get the new one on. So here we go. This is the new 2024 lightweight setup. As you can see, I've got one less pistol on the front, but I do have one of these 40 degrees, which I could always attach on here should I want any more space. It's a bit annoying that it's so thin. There's this really thin portion here, so it would actually be more comfortable to either have it right in the middle or over this side for a draw, but I normally run some sort of dangler in front, so it does kind of make it a bit harder to access those ones. So we're going to stick with this. So as you can see, we've got the pistol running at basically the same ride height here. The only difference is, again, like if I kneel down or anything, there is no pinching, there is no sort of discomfort on here at all. Again, if I give it a little shake, similar, to be honest. It's secured to my jeans, so it's not going to make too much of a difference. But actually, having again, having the capability to switch out to different holster arrangements. Again, it's not going to come off. These are really decent. So double pistol S-Tac, again, HK45 mag, FNX mag. I picked these ones because they're quite large, so sometimes you can find the kydex can be a bit tight, but it does kind of, if you just leave some mags in there, it kind of stretches out a little bit. Some people use a hairdryer, but I don't really recommend that. I've done it before and gone a bit too far. Again, I've got a 7.62 mag, that is an M14 mag in there. I've got my Skittles dump pouch, which is a bit lighter than the T-Rex one. And again, my boo-boo pouch for any spares. The rest of this is blank. Also means that when you're sitting down, there is no point of this that is pinching me. There is no point of this that is uncomfortable. Even the fact that I've got enough space here for my pistol with the holster, even this isn't uncomfortable, because what's happening is when I pick up, you're getting this gap that's created here, and when this gap is created, that means that you're not getting any pinching. So this is ultimately what I wanted to achieve. I can move around, I've got freedom of movement with no pinching at all on the waistband. As you can see, that's where it would normally be pinching me, and it's not. So super, super comfortable, really pleased with the ride height, and the fact that I've managed to save a little bit of weight on top of that. Yeah, this is what we're talking about. So anyway, let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. I'd love to hear from you about this, and hopefully I will see you on the next video, and take care.